hosted my husband's family dinner, only to hear my sister-in-law belittle me. So I pulled off a dramatic reveal that forced my in-laws to reconsider. I'm Claire, 29, and I live in Seattle, Washington, though right now the city feels miles away from this dim kitchen. The clock's digital glow reads 4:17 a.m. when I slip downstairs, heart hammering in the hush before dawn. I've done this routine so many times I can move blind, flip on a single overhead light, pull out the cutting board, and listen to the rain drumming against the window pane like an anxious audience. I start with vegetables, onions first, thin crescents that sting my eyes and sharpen my focus. My hands remember my mother's lessons, the angle of the knife, the rhythm of the chop. Next, I need dough for fresh rolls, pressing and folding until the texture feels just right beneath my fingers. I arrange herbs and spices in small bowls along the counter, rosemary, thyme, garlic minced fine. Each motion is practiced, steadying the swirl in my chest. Excitement that tonight might change everything. Dread that every detail could still betray me. In the quiet, I rehearse the weight of a warm meal on judgmental eyes. I belong here, I promise myself, even when my pulse echoes doubt in my ears. Steam rises from a simmering stock. Its scent, earthy, comforting, echoes memories of family dinners I once took for granted. Outside, the rain's pattern speeds up, tapping as if warning me the moment is near. I pause at the window, fingertips cool on the glass, imagining the polished dining room where a lace tablecloth will soon lie. I remind myself, a homemade feast might thaw the cold between me and Beth, my sister-in-law whose glare feels sharper than any blade. And yet, beneath hope, a knot of fear tightens. What if tonight's effort only cements their opinion, that I'm an interloper striving for acceptance? The thought sends a tremor through my arms as I return to the counter, slicing vegetables for a roasted root medley. I taste my own anxiety in the salt on my tongue. The kitchen light flickers as clouds veil the sky's first hint of light. I arrange ingredients methodically, plating possibilities before they become reality. Every scent, every texture matters. This dinner could be the hinge on which my place in this family turns. My knife hovers above a carrot, and I hesitate. Have I prepared enough? Have I anticipated their tastes, their unspoken standards? A distant creak upstairs reminds me Mark will wake soon, unaware of how pivotal tonight feels to me. I swallow against the tightness in my throat and press the knife down, committing to what comes next. The rain intensifies, and in its steady patter I hear both warning and promise. Tonight could be my chance to finally belong, or the moment I realize some divides run deeper than any recipe can bridge. By midday, the dining room feels too bright under these spotless windows, as if every ray of light magnifies my nerves. I smooth the lace tablecloth over the long oak table, fingers brushing the intricate patterns my grandmother once admired. Silverware gleams in the sunlight I invited in, polished until each fork and knife reflects a version of myself I hope they'll accept. I arrange candles in simple holders, tall enough to feel ceremonious, low enough not to obstruct faces, wondering if ceremony can coax warmth from stiff hearts. I place the vase next, the one Grandma passed down to me last summer. Its delicate blue blossoms painted on the porcelain feel like a talisman. Whisper of continuity. I am part of something bigger, a link between past and future. Sliding fresh flowers into water, I recall how Grandma would smile when I picked wild blooms as a child. Now I choose flowers that feel both familiar and elegant, white lilies and pale lavender sprigs, silent statements of reverence and hope. I step back to study the arrangement. Does it read as earnest or desperate? My chest tightens at the question. Next, I adjust each plate until the distance between them is identical. I count spaces twice, maybe 3 times. I tuck napkins just so, folding them into neat rectangles that hint at care without pretension. In the mirror near the hall, I practice greeting. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. I say it softly, hearing the words echo against the walls. I breathe in deeply, exhale slowly, trying to steady the tremor in my voice. Each breath feels like bargaining. Prove you care, prove you belong, prove that you're worthy of their trust. I glance out the window at the gray Seattle sky, rain clouds parting just enough to let pale light through. The memory of last night's whispered doubts rises again. She's trying too hard. I imagine Beth thinking. I press my palms to my temples, tasting fear and resolve on my tongue. Laughter drifting up from downstairs. Mark joking with his siblings, carries warmth for him, but for me brings a flutter of dread. Will they see tonight as genuine or as performance? The question trails behind me as I light the candles, their flames flickering against polished surfaces, shadows dancing where smiles may falter. I place the final touches, a small handwritten menu card at Mark's place, written in my neatest script. I don't plan to read it aloud. It's a silent gesture. I've thought of every detail, down to names and descriptions of dishes. A roasted root medley with herbs, seared salmon with lemon butter glaze, and for dessert, a cake inspired by Grandma's recipe. I pause, running a fingertip over the menu's edge as if that touch could convey sincerity. My reflection in the glass doors shows a woman on the edge of hope and fear, wrists still trembling from polishing the last spoon. As I step back, I catch sight of the clock, hour drawing closer. My stomach twists. Adrenaline pulses behind my eyes. I rehearse small talk again. Questions about Mark's brother's new job, Beth's weekend plans, safe territory, but I worry about sounding scripted. I remind myself, this is more than etiquette. It's my attempt to build bridges over silent judgments. I inhale the mingled scents of flowers and candle wax and remind myself that tonight's tableau must carry enough warmth to thaw cold glances. Footsteps creak on the stairs below. My breath hitches. Time has slipped faster than I felt. I smooth my dress one final time, heart pounding like a drumbeat in my ears. The doorbell chimes in the next room, echoing through the empty hall. I steady my spine, lift my chin, and step toward the threshold. Everything I've arranged, every careful detail leads to this moment. The door is about to open, and with it, the verdict on my efforts and perhaps on me. I freeze mid-step as Beth's words land like ice on my skin, her voice a quiet blade cutting through the clatter of dinner. I'm carrying a plate of seared salmon when I catch the whisper. She's just the help, not family. It drifts from Beth's lips to Mark's brother, and their heads almost touch as they share the cruel secret. My grip tightens on the plate. The salmon wobbles, sauce pooling dangerously close to the edge. My breath catches. For a heartbeat, I consider letting the plate slip, letting fury spill out. But I clamp down on the outrage coiling in my chest. I set the plate on the sideboard with deliberate calm, breathing slowly to chase away the tremor in my hands. The dining room's warm light feels suddenly too bright, exposing every reaction I try to hide. I force a smile and lift my eyes to meet Beth's, her expression smug, as though she's proven something. Heat rises in my cheeks. Shame, anger, betrayal all jostle together. I steady myself by focusing on the task, serving vegetables alongside the salmon. Each movement must look natural, though my mind scrambles. How can they dismiss me so easily after every effort to belong? I kneel slightly to reach the lower shelf, retrieving the serving dish I'd prepared earlier. The family falls silent, sensing a shift I try to mask. I hear Beth stifle a chuckle, as if pleased by her impact. My throat tightens, but I speak in a calm tone I don't entirely feel. More vegetables. I place the dish in front of Mark's father. His fork lifts. He glances at me, eyebrows flicking upward. I catch Mark's eye across the table. His concern shines there, and I offer him a brief nod, silently asking for support I'm not ready to show openly. The clink of cutlery resumes, but the mood has changed. Forks move slower, conversations stall. I pour wine for myself, needing a moment's steadiness. The glass feels cool against my palm. I remind myself, I can't let them see me unravel. My voice remains measured as I ask about dessert preferences, though every word tastes like grit. Inside, I replay Beth's whisper on a loop, each repetition amplifying the sting. I remind myself that anger could scorch bridges I still hope to build. Restraint might carry me further tonight. I move to clear empty plates, each scrape against china echoing louder than before. My pulse throbs in my ears. I swallow against the knot in my throat. I catch my reflection in a polished fork left on the table, eyes shining with unshed tears, jaw set against trembling. I recall my mother's advice. Dignity in adversity reveals true strength. So I pause, take a breath, and continue, stacking plates, folding napkins, concealing hurt under practiced gestures. When Mark reaches out to steady my arm, I pull away subtly, refusing pity though craving reassurance. As I gather the last serving bowl, the family's polite silence feels heavier than any insult. I hear Mark's sister murmur about clearance for dessert, but the words float past me as I collect myself. I sense that this moment will linger, Beth's remark now woven into the evening's fabric. I lift the bowl of dessert to carry it upstairs for a moment's respite, using the brief excuse of clearing the table. Each step away from the dining room is a heartbeat closer to breaking free of this tension, and also a step deeper into uncertainty. What will follow my silent endurance? I slip into the hallway, the muffled conversation behind the closed door reminding me I'm still tethered to this test. I lean against the wall, pressing my palm to my chest to still the racing. Tears prick, but I blink them back. There's no breaking here, not yet. I let the hush wrap around me for a moment, gathering resolve. When I return downstairs with the dessert, the air will have shifted irrevocably. And I know, the next act must claim my truth, or risk letting this quiet sting define me forever. The candlelight feels heavier tonight, each flame a silent witness to the tension coiled around this table. I sit with the last forkful of dessert halfway to my lips, tasting sweetness that feels hollow against the knot in my stomach. Around me, muted laughter and polite chatter continue, but every word lands like distant thunder, present yet unreachable. My chest tightens as I hear Mark's mother comment on the cheesecake's texture. I offer a small nod and a practiced smile, though inside I scramble to hold myself together. I shift slightly in my chair, aware of Beth's gaze grazing me like a chill wind. Earlier, her whispered cruelty cut deeper than I anticipated, and now each polite exchange feels laced with judgment. I meet Mark's eye. He lifts his glass in a quiet gesture of solidarity. I raise mine in return, but I won't let his comfort betray my own struggle. My fingers curl around the stem, knuckles paling as I force myself to focus on the moment. Polite laughter at a sibling's anecdote, the gentle clink of spoons against china, the flicker of candlelight dancing across polished silver. I laugh when expected, though the sound tastes brittle. I respond to compliments on the dessert with measured gratitude. "I'm glad you enjoy it," I say, voice steady though my heart races. Every syllable is a negotiation between vulnerability and pride. Inside, I replay Beth's words. Just the help, not family. On a loop, each repetition stinging anew. I remind myself that outward composure is my shield. I won't hand them more ammunition by faltering now. Mark reaches across and squeezes my hand under the table. I withdraw slightly, eyes flicking away. I don't want pity, not even from him. I want recognition, not for this moment's endurance, but for the truth I'll reveal soon. Still, his touch steadies me in a way I can't show. I tuck that solace away, folding it into the resolve building behind my ribs. As plates are cleared, I remain at the table a beat longer, offering to help. "I can take these upstairs," I say softly, voice neutral. Mark shakes his head, but I insist. I need a moment alone. I rise, the chair's scrape echoing like a verdict. Each family member's eyes flick to me. I meet them in turn with calm courtesy. Oh, inside I feel the burn of humiliation and the spark of determination entwined. In the kitchen, I stack plates and bowls with deliberate slowness, the rhythm grounding me. I breathe in the mingled scents of candle wax and dessert crumbs, letting the familiar motions steady my pounding heart. Tears prick behind my eyes, but I blink them back, unwilling to let this room witness more of my vulnerability. I wipe a plate with a cloth, focusing on the fabric's texture against my palm, anchoring myself in the here and now. I press my back against the counter, closing my eyes for a moment. Recall the promise I made to myself this morning, to show them who I truly am, beyond every expectation or dismissive whisper. My shoulders square as I inhale. Humiliation may linger, but it won't define me. I steady my voice, practice the calm tone I'll need when I return. The reveal I've planned pulses at the edge of my mind, a moment that might shatter preconceptions or deepen the divide. A soft knock on the kitchen door signals Mark's approach. I open my eyes, forcing a composed expression. He stands there quietly, concern in his gaze. I give a brief nod, refusing to divulge my turmoil. He steps back, trusting me to handle this in my own way. I tuck the last plate under my arm and head back downstairs, each step a beat closer to whatever comes next. Returning to the dining room, I pause at the threshold, inhaling the charged air. The family's polite tension greets me like a tangible weight. I set the plates aside and lift my chin, letting the calm I've summoned settle over me. Behind this mask lies hurt and resolve in equal measure. And now, with every detail still under their watchful eyes, I'm ready for the next move that will define us all. When I step into the dining room with the cake stand, my pulse feels louder than the rain against the windows. I hold the vintage pedestal carefully, the glass dome catching flickers of candlelight as I move toward the table. Underneath, rose petals cradle a single engagement ring, its small band gleaming. Family pauses mid-conversation, forks hover above plates, eyes drawn instantly to the unexpected centerpiece. I place the stand in the center of the table, each movement deliberate to mask the tremor in my hands. Silence falls like a weight, cutlery settles, murmurs stilled. I breathe, tasting both fear and resolve on my tongue. The aroma of the meal lingers, seared salmon, roasted roots, lingering scent of dessert. But in this moment, all those dishes fade beneath the gravity of what waits beneath glass. I look at Beth first, forcing my voice steady. "I love Mark," I say, keeping my tone calm, almost gentle. The words hang in the air, simple yet relentless. I meet her eyes, she blinks, surprise flickering before her usual cool composure returns. I continue, "And I love this family. Tomorrow I hope to become a name what I've tried to be in my heart." My gaze sweeps the table, his mother, father, siblings all frozen, processing. The ring sits between us, quiet challenge and an invitation. Mark shifts in his seat. I see his hand curl into a fist at his side before he relaxes. He glances at me, and I give him a brief nod, acknowledging the risk we share. I feel exposed, every judgment I feared now pooled in their silence, but I also feel fierce. This is my truth laid bare. The glass dome reflects their faces. Shock, curiosity, something unreadable in Beth's eyes as she realizes the turn I've orchestrated. His mother inhales sharply, as if tasting disbelief. His father leans forward, brow furrowed, searching for meaning in my words. His siblings exchange looks, some sympathetic, some uncertain. No one speaks. I hold their gaze, letting the stillness press into them as it has into me for these past hours. I remember the whispered cruelty downstairs. She's just the help, not family. Now I offer them no plea, only a declaration that reframes every effort I made tonight. Beth's lips part as if to interrupt, but she hesitates, smugness draining from her expression. I sense the shift. The world I built tonight, the careful layers of dinner and ceremony have led to this pivot. My heart hammers. Will they accept this bridge I extend, or will they retreat behind unspoken walls? I steel myself against whichever comes next. My voice softens as I add, I know this may surprise you, but I want to share my life with Mark, openly and honestly, with respect for all of you. I tuck anxiety behind measured words, hoping sincerity cuts through lingering judgment. The ring moves from family to family. I see Mark's sister reach out, fingertips grazing the band. His brother lifts it thoughtfully. I remain seated, watching their hands pass the symbol I place there. Their gestures speak volumes. Curiosity mingles with hesitation. I feel time stretch as I wait for someone to speak, any reaction breaking the hush. Beth finally exhales, fragile sound that betrays uncertainty. She glances at Mark, then back at me, as if reconsidering everything she thought she knew. My chest tightens, relief and dread swirl together. I can't predict her words, only that this moment has shifted the evening's momentum irreversibly. I hold myself still, beneath the soft glow of candlelight, aware that every eye is on me. In this silence, I confront the risk I took. Rejection would sting fiercely. Acceptance would begin a new chapter. Either way, I've claimed my voice. I let the pause stretch, inviting them into the space I carved with hope and determination. A faint crackle from the candles underscores the tension, and I sense the family's breath catching with mine. The next word, whoever speaks it, will define whether tonight was a turning point or a final fracture. I remain poised, heart open and unguarded, ready for the response that will echo long after the candles burn down. The hush lingers. I know this reveal has changed everything, yet the true test lies just ahead. Mark's voice rings through the hush like a verdict. She's the only woman I want to spend forever with. I feel my heart surge as his words settle over the table, heavier than any judgment I've endured tonight. His hand finds mine, fingers curling around mine with warmth and conviction. I keep my gaze steady on his face, reading the fierce protectiveness there, then lift my eyes to the rest of the family. His mother's eyes widen, surprise rippling across her features. I sense the tension in her shoulders as she shifts in her seat, the polite mask cracking. His father leans back, lips parted as if forming a response, but the words stall. Around us, the dining room seems to hold its breath, candle flames flickering against silent faces. I draw in a measured breath, letting Mark's endorsement echo in my chest like a shield. I remain seated, dignity intact, fingers still interlaced with marks under the table. I let the moment stretch, giving his declaration space to land. Some faces flush with discomfort, others soften in an almost imperceptible thaw. I remember Beth's earlier whisper, just the help, not family, and feel a quiet satisfaction as I watch her expression shift from smug certainty to stunned hesitation. Mark inclines his head toward me, silently affirming our shared resolve. I lift my chin. Thank you, Mark, I say softly, voice calm yet resonant. The sound seems louder than I expect in the silence. I glance at his mother. Her eyes flick between Mark and me, weighing tradition against the truth laid bare. I hold her gaze long enough that she cannot dismiss me without confronting what she's just heard. Beth's mouth parts as if to speak, but she hesitates. I've seen the moment of recollection in her eyes, the echo of her comment, now stark against Mark's public support. I let the tension sit unbroken, allowing each family member to dwell on the shift. I feel both exposed and empowered. Exposed because I've laid my heart on the table, empowered because Mark's choice has reframed everything. His sister clears her throat, glancing at their mother as if seeking permission. I catch her eyes, there's uncertainty there, but also a flicker of empathy. I offer a small, genuine smile, no triumph, just serenity. My dignity, once threatened by whispered cruelty, now stands firm in the wake of Mark's words. I sense the family balancing between old assumptions and this new reality. Faint scratch of cutlery against plate finally breaks the silence. His father clears his throat, gaze softening as he looks at Mark. I listen to the unspoken negotiation in his eyes and posture. I remain still, letting them find their footing. Each second of quiet reinforces that acceptance may come on their terms, and that's fine. I don't demand immediate warmth. I've asked only to be seen as I am. Beth exhales, air shifting as she meets my eyes directly for the first time this evening. There's regret flashing there, but also pride wounded. I keep my expression calm, giving no ammunition. Her silence speaks volumes. She knows the gravity of her earlier words. I feel a subtle change in the room's atmosphere, as if walls have begun to tilt. Mark squeezes my hand again, discreetly, and I feel the promise in that gesture. We face whatever follows together. I let my gaze drift over the polished table, candlelight dancing on the engagement ring glinting at its center. This ring, once an unexpected reveal, now symbolizes more than love. It marks a turning point. I hold onto that, anchoring myself in what matters: truth, commitment, and the chance for genuine acceptance. As conversation tentatively resumes, soft questions about our plans, careful compliments on the meal, the tone has shifted. Politeness remains, but beneath it lies newfound respect tinged with uncertainty. I match each remark with calm grace, neither overeager nor withdrawn. In my chest, hope flickers steady. The journey toward belonging may still be rocky, but tonight has cracked open a path. When the final candle gutter flickers, I know this evening will be remembered, not for perfection of table or meal, but for the moment I claimed my place. As plates are cleared and chairs pushed back, I rise with composure, ready for whatever mix of apology or acceptance comes next. In this hush after Mark's declaration, I realize the hardest barrier has been broken, but the real work begins now. I'm prepared to do it. The sunlight feels different this morning, softer somehow, as if it knows how heavy last night was. I sit across from Mark at the long table, the lace cloth still faintly scented with candle wax and memories. My mug warms my palms, steam curls upward, carrying the familiar comfort of coffee and the quiet promise of a new day. The dining room is empty now, no polished silverware waiting, no expectant faces, but in this hush, I taste both relief and anticipation. I recount the details to Mark as he pours more coffee, how Beth called late, voice trembling with remorse I barely dared hope for. "Claire, I'm sorry," she'd said, words simple yet laden with awkward weight. I felt surprise first, then a cautious relief. Apology didn't erase her earlier cruelty, but it opened a door I feared sealed forever. Mark listened, eyes soft, squeezing my hand across the table. I saw in him the steady anchor I need. "Her words matter because you do," he said, voice low. I nodded, feeling the warmth of his conviction settle in my chest. We laugh over something small, a memory of wax dripping onto the tablecloth when lighting extra candles, Mark teasing that I'd started a minor fire hazard. The joke cracks open a lighter mood. Last night's tension feels distant now, though its echoes linger in my spine. I tell him how odd it felt to hold the ring under that dome, to wait for their responses in the flicker of candlelight. He smiles, brushing a loose strand of hair behind my ear. "You were fearless." His praise feels strange and right. I realize how much I needed to hear it, how much I need him beside me as we navigate what comes next. Outside, the rain has stopped. Wet pavement gleams faintly through the window. I trace patterns in the condensation on the glass, thinking of how storms pass and leave the world washed anew. In the quiet, I feel the weight of last night's reveal settling into something steadier. Not joy unclouded, but hope tempered by reality. I speak of plans, when to visit family again, how to involve Beth in wedding preparations without forcing forgiveness. Each decision feels deliberate, a negotiation between caution and optimism. I sense Mark's desire to heal old wounds, and mine to protect both him and myself from further hurt. I glance at the ring on my finger. It catches the morning light in a subtle glint. It's more than a promise. It's a challenge and a reminder of the evening when I dared to claim my place. I slide my hand over the table toward Mark's. He meets me halfway, fingers laced. The gesture holds no grand fanfare, just two people committed to facing judgment and acceptance together. I let myself linger in that moment, breathing in the faint scent of damp earth drifting through a cracked window. Later, I'll tidy the dining room again, but today, I'll allow the disarray inside me to settle first. I'll carry the memory of Beth's apology and Mark's unwavering support as I move through the hours. Maybe starting a small garden by the window or writing a note to his mother thanking her for listening last night, however tentatively. I know the road ahead may still twist with discomfort and uneasy silences, but I also know I've proven something vital, to myself more than anyone else. My voice matters. The morning light shifts, and I rise to refill our mugs, letting Mark stand to stretch. I pause at the doorway, looking back at the table we set together in a night of trial and revelation. A new beginning feels fragile yet real, like the first green shoot after rain. I step forward, carrying both the weight of what happened and the promise of what's to come. And as I walk through this quiet house, I wonder, when the next dinner arrives, will the echoes of last night guide us closer or test our resolve again? Either way, I'm ready to meet it.